Morning everybody, how you doing? I took a bit of a break from social media yesterday. Had a bit of a social media detox. I think sometimes when you're constantly looking at the situation of the country, I'm not being careful, I'm actually going down a hill here. This is steep. There we go. Done. Right. Yeah, so I took a bit of a break from social media yesterday. Bit of a detox. So I think when you're looking at constant negativity, because that's all you can see at the minute with this country is negativity. There isn't much in the way of positivity to look at. It can start to take a toll on you, both mentally and physically. I'm worried sick for my family, for everybody really, with the way this country is going, because solutions are hard to find. You know, people, obviously there's party politics, there's a political solution, but from all I've seen of the party politics side of things, there isn't much in the way of salvation. Any solution politically is 4 years away, and we're not even guaranteed that we'll get a solution, that we'll get a party into power that will give us what we need. And that's depressing. You look at I'm using these terms only when talking about party politics, because this is where it applies the most when you talk about left-wing and right-wing politics. If you look at the right-wing side of politics, it's very, very deeply divided. And if it stays on the course that it stays on, where it doesn't unify, doesn't come together to fight the common enemy, then there's going to be no political solution from party politics wise from the right in 2029. All that will happen is everybody will vote for their different factions, split the vote. You might see Reform get a few more MPs in Parliament, but that's about it. They'll probably get, probably 70 or 80 MPs in Parliament. I think the Labour vote is going to totally collapse. I think the Tory vote is going to be non-existent, because anybody that is a Tory will vote for the Reform Party, even though right now they really should just change their name to the New Tories. That's what they should be. I'd look at their stats on membership, on people that are actually defecting to the Reform Party, and it's just chock-a-block with ex-Tories. That's all they are. So if you're looking for any type of political change or reform from the Reform Party, I would hold your breath. It's just the Tories dressed up in a new name. That's all they are. That's all the Reform Party is. It's just the Tory party with a new name. That's it. So, party political wise, people are going to come to comments and talk about all the new parties. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything in the next general election. There simply isn't enough support for them. I can't see. It's going to come up. Advanced UK will probably grow in the ranks along with Reform, and those two parties will just split the right-wing vote. And even if the Labour Party and its vote collapses and there's not much support for the Tories, then that's just going to let in God knows what sort of coalition government we'd have, because Corbyn's party is rising through the ranks, and with Muslims doing what they do with block voting, it's a very possibility that we're going to see the rise of the Islamic parties in 2029. So as far as a political solution is concerned, there isn't one. From what I've seen online, people are throwing their weight behind activism, protests, people power. I think that's where the real change is going to come from, and you're starting to see it now. Every week, more and more people are coming out to protest the illegal immigrant hotels. Protest the illegal immigrant hotels. People are starting to realise that any sort of political solution is 4 years away, if indeed there is a solution. People are desperate. That's what I'm reading between the lines. People are very, very desperate at the minute out there, and they want to feel like they're doing something, so they're getting out on the streets with the banners. And it's not just young people, it's from every age on the spectrum. There are OAPs out there in their wheelchairs, Zimmer frames, with their union flags, St George's crosses, getting out there and standing up for against what's happening to this country. That's what's happening. So I see all these debates online between the talking heads, all the different leaders of the different parties, all talking about things, but not really doing anything about what's actually happened to this country. Because they still think that the old ways work. From what I can see, there are distinct factions forming. You've got those that want revolution, old-fashioned pitchforks and torches type revolution. You've got the people who want peaceful revolution via peaceful protest, street protest outside the legal immigrant hotels. And you've got the people who still think the system works, that they can change everything in 4 years via the system, which, by the way, is totally and utterly stacked against them. It's rigged against them. The system is rigged against you in every way, shape and form, so that no matter what you do, you'll never win. That's the system. I have seen some rumblings on the back channels that there's quite a lot of people within our armed forces that will not fight for Keir Starmer. There are quite a few within the police force that don't agree with how the police force is policing people or what they're doing to people. So it does look bleak, but things are changing out there. Things are changing. And I was thinking to myself the other day, what's this country going to look like in 100 years, 200 years time? And I hate this argument because I see it used a lot. It got used on one of my comments the other day on one of my videos. I can't remember which one it was. But this particular person was saying that this country's never had direct democracy, so it will never happen. But I reminded the person, and they were respectful. We agreed on a lot of things. But this is the argument. It's like there was a time when we didn't have a parliament and we didn't have democracy. We were ruled by dictator kings. And if you asked that question back then, if we'd ever have a democracy or a parliament, you would get the same people coming out saying we'll never have democracy or a parliament because we've never had it before. So my point is, just because we've never had something in the past doesn't necessarily mean we never will. Times change a lot. And what do I think the country's going to look like in 100 to 200 years? Well, I don't think we'll have a monarchy within the next 200 years. I think that's going to die out. I think we will be a republic. I think we will have a written constitution with a Bill of Rights and all that kind of thing. That's going to happen within the next 200 years, and it's mainly going to be down to Keir Starmer, because people are going to look back on this time in history and they're going to say, we can never allow this to happen again. We need stronger checks and balances in place over the government so this period in time can never happen again. And it's not going to happen overnight. This is going to be a gradual thing over the next 200 years. Keir Starmer is going to go down in history for all the wrong reasons. He is the worst Prime Minister we've ever had in our history. We've never had a Labour Party this extreme, this communist, because it is communist. It's not socialist. These people are communists. And this is going to be the benchmark. This is going to be the thing that over the next 200 years changes the way we're governed and the way government operates. I think we're going to see a change in the civil service. We won't have permanent secretaries anymore. It'll move over to what we see in America, where each administration brings in their own people to run how their government operates. I think that's going to happen. And this is all due to what's happening now. Because people are going to come along and say, this can never happen again. We can't allow our country, via the mechanisms that were in place, to descend into a dictatorship and tyranny. Now, however this comes to volition, I don't know. Whether it's armed conflict or it's via peaceful means. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. It will happen. And so in that respect, there is some hope for the future, because things are coming to a head. I think the way that we are governed is collapsing. I think people are starting to see the flaws in the system now, and the people realise that we need change. Drastic change in this country. We are very, very vulnerable without a written constitution. We need a written Bill of Rights. We need a version of a First Amendment which protects free speech in law. And I know people are going to come and say, well, there is that in the Bill of Rights, the unwritten Bill of Rights. A lot of that has been repealed, the old constitution. We have laws in place which override it and prevent it from being enacted because it's been repealed to such an extent. People bring up the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta has been repealed heavily, so it doesn't really carry the weight that it used to carry. And it's all deliberate. It's all deliberate. It was all done to take away your freedoms, and it was all done via the old analogy of the frog in the pot. The heat being turned up slowly so you don't realise that over a period of time all your freedoms are being eroded away. And the law only matters if it's applied equally and fairly. It's only a truly just and moral law if it's applied equally and fairly to every single citizen in this country. If there are caveats, if there are instances where one group is favoured over another due to legislation being brought in or the law itself being abused, then it's no longer the law. It's oppressive. And that's something people need to realise. So for me, there are no left and right in politics. That's irrelevant. That's reserved for party politics. The only thing that exists now, to me, in this country is, are you on the right side of history or are you on the wrong side of history? Are you on the side of history that wants to protect this country's culture, heritage, freedom of expression? Or are you on the other side that wants to oppress the people, that wants to censor everybody so your ideology can survive and be on the wrong side of history? That's all that exists now in this country, right and wrong. And it's not subjective, because it's clearly wrong to censor people for their opinions. It's wrong to put people in prison for their opinions, for merely saying something, for expressing an opinion, for saying something that might offend somebody. That is the wrong side of history. That is a bad law. That's immoral law. The only way a society remains healthy is if you have a marketplace of free ideas where all ideas can be discussed fairly and honestly. Without that, you don't have a free society anymore. Right, rambled enough. This is Vindicator, sign off.